All right, let's dive into one of the most familiar yet weirdly mysterious experiences we all share. I'm talking about that state of consciousness when you're not really awake, but you're not quite asleep either. We're going to explore this hidden territory, and we've got a fascinating text to use as our map. I mean, really think about it. That strange, drifting moment right before you completely lose consciousness. It's not just your brain powering down for the night. What if it's actually a journey? A journey into another place entirely. A place that, believe it or not, has been mapped for thousands of years. You see, our source material doesn't frame this as just some biological process. It calls it a threshold hour, an entry point into a totally different state of being. The idea here is that every single night we're rehearsing a kind of small death, a temporary dissolving of who we think we are. So our guide for this whole exploration is a woman named Mira. She's a sleep researcher, and after years of looking at brainwaves and REM cycles, she had this huge realization. She wasn't just studying sleep, she was actually studying the very borders of consciousness itself. Science told Mira that falling asleep was basically like a dimmer switch. Brain activity just gradually decreases. Simple. But her own experience was telling her something way more radical. It wasn't a shutdown at all. It was a fundamental transformation. It was like the lights in the room didn't just dim, they changed color, and suddenly doors opened up to other rooms she never knew existed. Well, being a scientist, Mira couldn't just leave this as a weird feeling. She tried to bring some order to the chaos. She started to systematically catalog the journey, breaking down the whole process of falling asleep into these distinct, observable stages. She called it the descent. So first, there's the loosening. This is when your thoughts start to kind of unravel and logic gets all fuzzy. Then comes the drift, when these random, super vivid images just flash through your mind. After that is the most important stage, which she called the slip. And finally, you get the fall, where you enter the dream and you have absolutely no memory of how you even got there. Now, the slip is the real mystery here. It's that exact instant when the you who is watching all this happen just vanishes. But get this, awareness doesn't stop. The experience keeps going. There's just nobody there to have the experience. This completely broke all her scientific models. I mean, how can you have consciousness without a witness? So after Mira learned how to kind of stabilize her awareness in this threshold state, she made an even more shocking discovery. This wasn't just a process. It was a place, a whole realm with its own geography, its own rules, and yeah, even its own inhabitants. In this incredibly strange world, she started encountering what you could call beings, or maybe they're more like living principles. There were the blue children who would guard these gateways, the weavers, which seemed to be living patterns that were literally creating reality. She even encountered the keeper, which was like the intelligence of the threshold itself, and the architects, who were like the laws of consciousness come to life. And this moment, with the weavers, was the real turning point for her. As she was observing them, she had this profound realization that she wasn't a separate observer at all. She was part of the fabric that was being woven. The boundary between herself and the world she was watching just completely dissolved. And here is where it gets absolutely mind-bending. Mira found out she wasn't the first person to map this territory, not even close. She connected with others, a Christian mystic, a Buddhist nun, and they were describing the exact same things, just using their own cultural language. The threshold, the weavers, even the process of your self-dissolving, it was all there. It's like they all discovered the same hidden continent, but just drew their maps in different languages. This led her to a massive realization about her whole project. See, she thought she was creating a map of some external territory, but she was about to find out that the map's true purpose was something else entirely. The journey into this state, it turns out, is not a neutral act. You can't just be a passive observer. The source material puts it perfectly. The very act of studying the dissolution of the self is to be dissolved yourself. The observer is fundamentally changed by what they're observing. So this just reframes everything, doesn't it? What if the goal wasn't to create this perfect, objective chart of an inner world? What if the map itself was actually a tool, a piece of technology designed to transform the person drawing it? And that was the stunning conclusion she came to. Mira's entire scientific project was, in reality, a spiritual practice in disguise. The goal was never to know the threshold, but to be unmade by it, to finally let go of the illusion that you're a separate self. Okay, so why does any of this matter to you? Well, because this isn't some far-out state that's only for mystics or sleep researchers. This territory is a place you visit every single night. This completely reframes the simple act of falling asleep, right? It's not just about your body recharging. It's a nightly practice in letting go of the self. It's a rehearsal for these deeper journeys of consciousness. Every night, without even realizing it, you practice dissolving. So if there's one thing to take away from all this, it's this. That self you think is so solid, it's really just a fluid process, and it dissolves every night. This threshold state is a real place, explored by countless cultures, and the journey into it fundamentally changes you. But that change isn't destruction, it's about recognizing this vast awareness that exists just underneath your everyday ego. Ultimately, our source leaves us with this really powerful idea. The entry point to this whole other understanding, it's always available. It's not some secret you have to find. The real question is just, are you ready to walk through it? And that brings us right back to the central puzzle, the essential mystery of it all. When the you that experiences the world dissolves every single night, what is it that's left? What remains aware? What knows when the knower is gone? Something to think about tonight.